EDG versus BLG proved double duelist will always be better than double initiator on Haven. Across the 2025 season and the start of 2026, one thing is consistent. When you look at the matchup win rates across large sample sizes, double duelist clearly dominates, with a 64.86% win rate from 2025 to now and a 78.57 win rate post Teho meta. So let's break down the key takeaways from EDG versus BLG and why Haven's map structure makes double initiator fundamentally weaker. First, the theory behind double initiator is that you get more utility to clear lines, stronger post plants, and more emphasis on enabling a solo duelist. On defense, you get stronger trap setups and stronger ability to take map space. On paper, it sounds good for a normal map, but Haven breaks that norm. Most maps have a first and second area of contention, but Haven actually has 3 you need to worry about before getting to site in some lanes. That changes everything. Let's start with A. The first area of contention on A has way too many possible angles to clear on retakes. Breach utility simply can't cover everything. If someone breaks the reclear drone, you never fully know where a defender can swing from. One could be at a drop-off corner, one could be baiting for another, one could be sneaking a timing off the drone for a quick shot. Now let's look at C-Long. Using utility in the first area of contention here makes no sense, because the moment you do, you give away that you're going C. And since attackers still have to run up a massive stretch of land, defenders can instantly flood site. CB gets a free kill here, because nobody wants to risk utiling that space. Even after he greets for another instead of teleporting, notice how easily defenders still flood back. This is why throughout EDG versus BLG, teams almost always contact reclear the first areas of contention, because there are too many possible areas to reclear if they make it obvious with util. But here's the massive difference. EDG is running ISO. ISO's shield clears multiple angles while scaling. It's basically a 12-second unlimited angle reclear util. So after EDG drones the first area of contention and doesn't know where the AWP is, probability-wise it's holding the second area. That's why ISO pops shield, min-maxing utility for info. Now compare that to Breach. After a drone reclear, the first player to come into contact must tank the AWP shot. If you util further, there are too many lines, and now you leak info on your numbers and also don't have enough utility left for entering site and post plant. There are outlier rounds where contacting works. BLG did this correctly after confirming Yoru's position at C. With Yoru TP and AWP, he can't reach A's first and second area of contention in the time frame BLG is preparing to contact A. So contacting here makes sense, but in most rounds, it doesn't, especially with the Breach Neon comp. BLG played an extremely contact-heavy style, which ended up costing them many rounds. CB having AWP/Outlaw for 4 rounds managed to get first bloods in 3 of them. Across 12 rounds, Breach only used stun twice at round start, both for just faking control, and proactively peeking window with flash only twice. Outside of executes, zero utility was used for map control, therefore allowing the double duelist to roam freely everywhere on the map. Here's the issue. If you're contacting most rounds anyways, Viper comps or double duelist is far better for contacting, especially because Viper changes the map structure to your favor. She minimizes the 100 million angles attackers can hide in. Now's the second problem. Let's say BLG did use Initiator Util to clear lines. Double duelists can permanently play forward in the first and second area of contention. They bait out Initiator Utility, then fall back, from first area to second or all the way back to site. This drains attackers' utility for executes and post plants. Again, this is Haven's structure. There's simply too many places to hide, get a kill, and escape. Compare that to Abyss, where there's only 2 clear areas of contention and very few angles inside them. That's why double initiator is more viable there, because they get more value off map control and reclears. So okay, what if double initiator uses more utility instead? Now you become more readable, and double duelists punish that. They react to utility cues, default discrepancies, aggressive pushes, and fast floods, which makes attacking a lot harder. So you get more room for error. And with so many angles, every piece of utility risks giving away intention. Now let's talk about executes. Double initiator executes are slightly weaker, because only one duelist makes first contact instead of 2. The rest lag behind by a few seconds. This makes it easier for site holders to isolate fights and punish the solo entry. Utility is also very systemized. If Omen and Breach are GPS blinding and stunning, or positioning for optimal coverage util, that's 1 or 2 fewer people trading. And if you're playing 4-1 with a mid lurk, realistically, only 2 to 3 players hit site on first timing, which is extremely weak even with a wider coverage utility area compared to other comps. Now let's talk about defense. Double Initiator has the strongest trap setups, but flooding is hard without Yoru. So a lot of times it relies on your grouped trap setup succeeding. Most of the time you're forced to fight in these first and second area of contention to use those traps, because if you play too passive, attackers can just walk on the side. Giving up those forward areas let attackers freely do fakes and manipulate rotates. This round shows it perfectly. CB limit tests, walks onto the site and finds that it's fully clear. BLG didn't push C long, and they knew CB walked onto C via cam. So at this moment, almost every team in the world will react the same. If BLG had an A setup, they'd cancel it by rotating or pushing A, but since they didn't, nobody, the IGL on EDG, reads it. He understands that because of a universal reaction pattern, A is most likely clear or very weak. These reads are much easier versus double initiator because double initiator setups usually contain more people, therefore giving away more information. Double duelist comps rely more on timing, creativity, and unreadable plays. Most times it's based on solo timings or two-man plans. Viper comps rely on massive stall and space denial in first areas of contention and side. Finally, there's a mindset limitation. Initiated players instinctively want to maximize utility value, so you rarely see aggressive plays like double pushing garage, because initiators usually sit back to support with utility. And to close it out, BLG played a very strong Breeze with double initiator, because Breeze has fewer angles in first area of contention, and site fights are mostly wide open instead of tight corners. But my prediction is that we'll almost see no double initiator in 2026 with regard to Haven, which is wild considering it was the main meta for years. And the reasons are simple. Haven's structure rewards solo plays. The meta shift towards fast flooding, and initiators got heavily nerfed 4 months ago. So we put it all together, and double duelist is simply the better comp on Haven. If you found today's episode useful, don't forget to subscribe. I'll be uploading weekly.